Oh man, oh man, things are starting to heat up for this team, right? Can't you just feel this team coming together? That was a very fun game to watch. That was honestly a very fun game to watch. Well, if you are an Ohio State fan, that is, because this was kind of the first game where it really felt like everything meshed together. At least that's how it seemed in my mind. Defense played well. Offense was rolling. This looks like one of the best, if not the best, offense in the entire country. And they look great. Let's talk about how they look. What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate, and welcome to my Ohio State fan reaction. Game 4 of the 2022 college football season. Ohio State looking like a top contender as the Buckeyes flatten the Badgers in the Big Ten opener. We're going to talk about this one. I do want to apologize for not posting this right after the game. As many of you know, I was in the state of Kansas watching Kansas Duke. And that Saturday, I just didn't have a lot of time to update or sit down and record this video because then we had to drive all day Sunday. So I do apologize for that. Next week will probably end up being the same thing. So I'm also going to try to get my top 25 out later today. But worst case scenario, that comes out tomorrow then as well. So I appreciate you guys letting me be flexible with that. Let's kind of talk about what we saw here in this game. I mean, starting out with the offense, I guess, right? C.J. Stroud. He's taken some criticism this year, and maybe some people have said this is not the C.J. Stroud we saw last year. I don't know how you argue with the numbers that we saw in this game. 17 of 27, 281 yards, 5 touchdowns, did throw an interception, which was his first of the year. I mean, this was a really good day for C.J. Stroud. Put up a total QBR of 98.7, which is the second highest single-game QBR of the season, only behind Malik Cunningham, because his performance against South Florida this week was crazy. And C.J. Stroud even ranks top overall in QBR with 95.4 QBR, only behind that of Jalen Daniels of KU, who I got to see in person this week. And man, does he play really, really well as well. And C.J. Stroud is 5 points ahead of the guy in third place, and Hendon Hooker. Stroud is ridiculous right now. He is playing really well. And this is an offense that still does not have Jackson Smith and Jigba. He still did not play in this game. However, it didn't matter. Emeka Egbuka, 6 catches, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Julian Fleming, 4 catches, 67 yards, and a touchdown. How about getting the tight end, Cade Stover, involved? 4 catches, 51 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him. He played really well this past week, and wouldn't you know it, we have now another proven weapon. Egbuka, Fleming, Harrison, we all know what Jackson Smith and Jigba can do when he's healthy. Now, having a tight end like Cade Stover that can do some of the things that he did against Wisconsin, I mean, just crazy, insane. Running backs were good. Travion Henderson, 21 carries, 121 yards. Mayan Williams, 11 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. Both of these running backs are insane. They both had over 100 yards last week. I mean, the Badgers could do nothing to stop this offense. Nothing. And for a team that is supposed to have one of the better defenses in the nation, Jim Leonard, I don't believe, had let up more than 41 points before this game happened, and he let up 52. He let up 31 in the first half, 21 in the first quarter. I mean, this game was put out of reach by halftime. There was no way Wisconsin was going to be able to come back and win this one. Let's shift focus over to the defensive side of the ball where, I mean, really, things are starting to come together. Now, I still have some gripes about this defense, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's talk about how they played first in this game. What a game for Tommy Eichenberg, might I add. He had a really good game today. Had 2 tackles for loss on Saturday. 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 7 of them by himself. He was everywhere on the field for this Ohio State defense. Tanner McAllister got an interception, and he just looked like a veteran out there, right? Josh Proctor had some really good plays. So did Ronnie Hickman. And they had to play a couple of young guys in the secondary there as well. But as you can see over there, it didn't really hurt them. It did not hurt them at all. Again, this game was over by halftime, but really good stuff I saw from this defense. And this was going to be kind of like a really good test, right? This was going to be a really good test for Ohio State's run defense, right? I think we had proven ourselves in previous weeks. We were shooting gaps. We were able to get into the backfield, create havoc in the backfields. And, well, Ohio State did that against one of the best running backs in the country on Saturday in Braylon Allen. He had 23 carries, 165 yards, and 1 touchdown. You might say, wait, they did that? That's a really good day for Braylon Allen. And it was, but he ended up busting a 75-yard run. If you take away that 75-yard run, it's 22 carries with 22 carries, 90 yards, and that's around 4 yards per carry, which holding Braylon Allen to 4 yards per carry is impressive. I don't care what defense it is. I don't care if it's Georgia, right? Holding Braylon Allen to 4 yards a carry is some really impressive stuff. Great work from this Ohio State defense. The linebackers played well. The secondary, I know Graham Mertz is not a great quarterback, but they held him to only 94 yards passing, which, again, still impressive, even though given the level that Graham Mertz plays at. Graham Mertz has started to find himself this year, just could not get anything going in this one here. So that was part on Graham Mertz and part because this Ohio State defense defended the pass beautifully. Now, there is an issue I have with this Ohio State defense, and I want to talk about it a little bit. Our run defense is really good, right? We're able to shoot the gaps. We're able to create pressure in the backfield. In fact, I'll say our pass rush is pretty good there as well. But there's a problem with this pass rush, and it's something that is going to kill us when we play more mobile quarterbacks. And it happened when we played DeQuan Finn at Toledo. It's probably going to happen when we go play Sean Clifford. Probably going to happen when we go play some other mobile quarterbacks on our schedule, especially down the line that last game of the year against that team up north, right? There's a problem with this pass rush. We can create good pressure on a quarterback, make a quarterback panic, and make a quarterback throw the ball somewhere that he doesn't want to throw. Hence, what we did against Graham Mertz when Tanner McAllister picked off that ball. But this pass rush needs to get home to the quarterback. They're creating some good pressure. They're getting into their gaps. They're getting the opposing offensive linemen on their heels, but they are not bringing down the quarterback. We were in the backfield so many times against Wisconsin, and we have 1 sack to come from it. That is it. 1 sack. That's it. That's just something that Ohio State has got to work on, right? This has got to be a team that is able to generate those sacks, right? Because, again, when we go play a more mobile-style quarterback, it's going to hurt us. And for as much pressure, I'm looking at it now, for as much pressure as we have gotten on these quarterbacks this year, we only have 9 sacks. We only have 9 sacks, which definitely is something that you would want to see turned around. And for the amount of talent that is on this Ohio State defensive line, I mean, we have 4 guys, I should say, with 2 sacks. Tommy Eichenberg, Michael Hall, Jack Sawyer, and Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Steele Chambers has the other one at 1. But guys like, JT Tui Maloau, no sacks for him yet. Zach Harrison, no sacks for him yet. McKenzie, Teron Vincent, Tyshawn Hamilton, Tyler Friday, Jerron Cage. These are guys that can get to the quarterback, yet they just haven't been able to bring him down so far this season. And again, that's going to kill us when we play a more mobile quarterback. And the other thing with this Ohio State defense is, look, for the record, as a college football fan, this is not coming from my Ohio State fandom. This is coming from my college football fandom. I think this is a really good Ohio State defense. Clearly look at how many points they've allowed. They've allowed around 15 points per game this year. They're doing really good stuff on the defensive end. But this is a defense that needs to learn to bring the quarterback down. They need to start generating more sacks. And they also, excuse me, that they also need to, well, not necessarily need to, well, again, they need to start generating sacks, but also we haven't really faced a dynamic offense yet, and I think that's going to come when we go play teams like Michigan State on the road. That's going to be a good challenge there. Penn State on the road. That's going to be a pretty good offense there. Maryland on the road. I'm starting to become more and more concerned about that game as, again, I still have some questions with our secondary, but Maryland is a team right now that looks pretty good and just gave Michigan a run for their money. So that game is worrying me a little bit. And then, of course, the game against Michigan where that may very well be the best offense that we face all regular season long. And when we get into the postseason, if this Ohio State team is able to get into the college football playoff and we have to play teams like Georgia that can have a pretty good offense. I know they had a rough day against Kent State, but that offense is going to be fine. Even Alabama with Bryce Young and the way that offense can be able to get going. Yes, the offensive line and wide receivers have questions there, but that offense can get rolling too. What even a team like Tennessee, if they're able to get into the college football playoff, that's a super, super high-paced offense, right? But you guys see my point. When we have to go start playing these high-powered offenses, I think you're going to see this Ohio State defense struggle, or maybe you won't, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but it just concerns me with we're not able to get back to the quarterback right now, and we have not faced a dynamic offense. We faced a really good running back in Braylon Allen, and I think we've proved our worth there in the run game, but we haven't played a team where we've had to worry about both the run and the pass. Notre Dame was a young offense, and they had a lot of questions on that side of the ball. Arkansas State was experienced, and they were able to generate big plays, but they weren't going to beat Ohio State. And Toledo, I think, was probably the most dual-threat offense that we faced because they threw the ball deep. They had a mobile quarterback that was able to get outside the pocket and run, and they had some guys in the backfield that were able to run there as well. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Toledo's offense is better than Notre Dame's or better than Wisconsin. That's not what I'm here to do. It's just Toledo, in my opinion, has been Ohio State's biggest test from a defensive perspective. Now, they scored 77 points in the game, and there was no way they were going to lose. But just the way that Toledo attacked this Ohio State team, and even the way that Arkansas State attacked this Ohio State team is what other teams are going to follow. And especially now that we're in Big Ten play, there are teams out there that are going to be able to do that at a much more effective clip. Hence Michigan State, Penn State, Maryland, and Michigan. Some of the best offenses in the Big Ten. Michigan State, maybe not, but they haven't been looking good as of late. But there are some pretty solid offensive players. I think Peyton Thorne is all right. They got a good wide receiver group. Got a couple good running backs that Ohio State's going to have to look out for. Penn State's just an all-around good offense. Really experienced quarterback in Sean Clifford. Michigan, of course, we've seen their dynamic offensive attack and what it can do. Right? This is an Ohio State team that has got to be prepared for when those games come. Because Penn State looks really good right now, and in a couple weeks, they may find themselves in the top 10. Michigan has consistently sat at the number 4 spot. That's a really good team there as well. So there are teams on this schedule that are going to give Ohio State some really, really good challenges. Ohio State has faced good defenses. Notre Dame, Wisconsin, Iowa is coming up later on the schedule there as well. Those are some good defenses. This Ohio State defense has yet to face an offense that's going to rank top 25 nationally this year, which is the thing that worries me about this Ohio State team moving forward. Now, I do not think it will be as big of a problem as maybe I'm making it seem because of how dynamic this offense can be, especially once Jackson Smith-Njigba gets healthy. In my opinion, he's probably going to end up being healthy and ready to go by that Michigan State game. At the very least, though, I want him back by Penn State. You can take all the time you need, Jackson, but we need you for that game in Happy Valley because that's going to be a brutal, grinded out, tough matchup kind of game, and we are going to need Jackson Smith-Njigba there for that game. So that is going to be the game to watch out for there on the schedule. That's the game right now that I am circling because every week I get a little bit more impressed with what Penn State is doing this season. So that's kind of my concerns with this defense. I told you guys the offense would come around. I mean, C.J. Stroud is playing ridiculously good right now. He has a 70% completion percentage, 1,200 yards, 10 yards per throw, 16 touchdowns to only 1 interception. He's only been sacked twice. This is a really good offensive line, not only in the pass game, but in the run game. We have 2 300-yard rushers in Travion Henderson and Mayan Williams. Dallin Hayden has been really good as a true freshman back for us this year as well. Those are 3 guys right there that are averaging more than 5 yards per carry. The receiving core, especially when Jackson Smith and Jigba gets healthy. Julian Fleming has already come back and is pretty healthy himself. 7 catches for 90 yards, but 3 touchdowns. You have Emeka Egbuka, Marvin Harrison, Cade Stover getting more involved with the offense. Even guys in the depth backfield, Xavier Johnson, Jaden Ballard. And then, again, like I've mentioned so many times, once Jackson Smith and Jigba gets healthy, this is going to be one of, if not the best teams in all of America, right? Jackson Smith and Jigba is a huge part to this offense, but yet we have been doing well without him. We've been doing well without him, which I think is a good sign. Which I think is a really good sign, but I would like to see once Jackson Smith and Jigba comes back, I mean, this offense is going to be dynamic. And from now, I have no big complaints about the offense. They look great. And honestly, something I haven't said yet that I've been thinking this whole time, this looks like a pro-style offense. I mean, put this offense in the NFL, and I think they do really, really well. Like, they've been mixing up play calling, and I know people question the play calling of Ryan Day and Kevin Wilson. To what I say, why? What are you doing? I mean, these are just such well-designed plays. They're such good, well-designed routes, and it's a terrific, terrific offensive staff. So those of you out there that question play calling, I'm not quite sure why you do it. If you do, leave your answer in the comment section down below, and if you're just going to sit there and say, it's predictable, I know what's coming, well, then if you know what's coming, the other team sure knows what's coming, and they still can't defend it, which is even crazier to me than if that's the case. If you know what's coming and you still can't defend it, shows you how good this offense really is, right? For the defense, again, work on getting the quarterback down in the backfield. I think that's the biggest problem for this Ohio State defense right now is we're creating good pressure, but as soon as we face more mobile competition sitting in that pocket, it's going to kill us. It's really going to kill us. And again, with the Jim Knowles philosophy, this defense is vulnerable to give up the big play game. We can't let that happen with some of the teams coming up on our schedule. I know people question Notre Dame. People are going to question Wisconsin now after this game. And are these teams really, really good? I guess, are these teams as good as we made them out to be? Notre Dame and Wisconsin are 2 teams that can easily still finish in the top 25, and we could see Wisconsin again in Indianapolis, although Minnesota looks really good right now. We don't have them on the schedule, but we definitely could see them in Indianapolis. Purdue is there as well. That's an offense that loves to air it out. So, again, there are going to be bigger tests for this Ohio State team, and they're coming up. Got Rutgers next week, should be able to get the win there, and then it's the first road game of the year, which I think is going to be very, very interesting to watch. So I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. This was my Ohio State fan reaction. If you are an Ohio State fan, I suggest you hit the subscribe button. I do one of these after every single week. And hey, even if you're not an Ohio State fan, you're a college football fan, much like myself, I post lots of other videos on this channel's top 25 predictions and live, well, most of the time last week and probably this next weekend are going to be some exceptions to that. But for the most part, I try to update you guys on my community tab. So please do check out everything I have to offer. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Anything to help support my channel does mean a lot to me. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I will see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.